Hello everyone, welcome to this video. We have a very exciting topic today, which is how to win in the AI Gold Rush. And this video is brought to you by AI Buddy Learning Lab. What's that? We'll talk about that later, but let's talk about the context of today's video and why I've spent so many hours to prepare this presentation file, and I'm ready. I've sat down to give a 2-hour lecture on this, and I hope you're going to stay with me because we are going to be cracking down the problem of making a lot of money. Like, how do we make a lot of money? And there's an AI gold rush happening. So what's that about? To give you the context, if we look at these technological innovations, major innovations since 1989, we can see that because of internet and World Wide Web, many different innovations came to this planet. The planet got united in ways that it never was, and human beings from all across the globe and across different continents could connect, and that has led to an e-commerce and electronic business transactions enablement, which is going to be which is expected to reach $20 trillion in 2025. For smartphones, this industry is expected to grow to $792.51 billion by 2029. Cloud computing, the growth expectation is $2,495.2 billion. AI and machine learning, that's the keyword we are targeting today. AI, but this industry combining machine learning and AI is expected to add $15.7 trillion to the GDP by 2030, to the global GDP. And if we look at the social media platforms, total ad spend is forecasted to exceed $345 billion by 2029. And in the field of e-commerce and digital payments, which we have sort of discussed already, the last year's total amount that was generated in sales was $6 trillion. So these are big numbers. The idea for sharing this information at this point of the presentation is to kind of take it as a validated fact that this industry will grow, this AI industry, and it's also kind of giving us hints about the infrastructure, which we're going to talk later as we move on into the video. But that infrastructure is critical for us to understand because there are a lot of players in the industry and a lot of collaboration needs to happen to really get the wheels moving. And if you want to make a lot of money here, it's better to understand the ecosystem first, so we know how to nurture it and we know during which project or product life cycles what kind of new opportunities can rise up. So we're definitely taking a look into this from a very solid business background. And on that note, here I am, Sohan. I am living in Canada. I've been here for 4 years. Before that, I was living in Bangladesh. That's where I'm originally from. And I have also experience of living in the UK, in London, for a year. And these are all relevant because as we move on, I will connect the dots. And if we look at my professional career, I've worked across multiple roles, all mostly related to product marketing or digital marketing or social media marketing. And there are other roles I have done, but these are more relevant for this particular talk today. And right now, I am in the process of launching a small business called AI Buddy Learning Lab, which has some startup prospects, but before my team claims itself as a startup, there are more market validation and cost and benefit analysis that we need to do, and for that we need to track data. So we're not there yet, but all of these activities, and besides what I've just mentioned, I have studied, I'm a nerd, in short, a geek as well. So I've done 2 MBAs. One recently, where I graduated from 2024 from University of Ottawa, and the one before that was from IBA, University of Dhaka. That was back in 2016. That's when I graduated. So going through these educational pathways has given me certain idea about what's happening in this AI industry, which I don't always see being discussed. And I felt like, okay, that's a good opportunity for me to explore and sort of connect more with my community. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is I'm a certified project management professional and a certified Scrum product owner. So these 2 certifications have been crucial for me in kind of looking at this AI industry. And when I say AI industry, it's a massive industry. I actually mean the Gen AI industry and its consumer-facing applications mostly. But there are like massively different topics which we will kind of encounter, but we're just going to navigate around them and stick with particularly how do we make more money and how do we sustain it, how do we do it without further damaging or accelerating activities which damage the environment and kind of decrease the probability of human survival and increase the probability of human extinction by human beings' own behavior, which would be a really sorry thing to happen if it ever ends up happening. And I don't think that's going to happen because we have AI to help us in many different ways. So before we go into that rabbit hole, I want to get back to the sections that we're going to cover today. We will be talking at first about the background of the AI gold rush. Then we will talk about some first principles thinking. Hopefully that is going to clear our mindset from a lot of biases that could be there because of the AI FOMO, AI bubble, AI, what can I say? It's the fad in the AI, the kind of things that are just going to be sticking around like a balloon for like a few minutes or maybe just a few days and then pop, it's out and the next thing's going to happen. So we definitely need to understand what is going to stay like a classical piece of music. Like it was so loved and so appreciated and it so served the purpose that it has lasted hundreds of years, and like classical knowledge and classical music. So those are the things that we'll try to understand so that we can relax a little in this whole AI rush, because even though it's rush, if we have the right principles and the right systems, I don't know why, and I don't think why we should ever need to like rush in a dangerous manner. However, those are things we want to talk more about later. Let's talk about the third segment where we are going to be looking at some prompt engineering, how you can master that. So this topic we will kind of go towards some intermediate exploration. For the advanced level, we will talk on a different day. It's going to be a different lecture because I think that's a whole another chapter that needs to be explored, especially by early users, because I am a user who's been using ChatGPT almost since it got popular. Back then, I remember I used to work at Bell Canada as a store sales rep, and then I would go to work and then I would read about ChatGPT and I'd be like, damn, I don't have free time in my hands to even try this, but it's so cool. Looks like this is going to be the future. This is giving me the www vibe. This is giving me the whole Facebook kind of vibe. It looks like, this is the next big thing, and I really want to ride this wave. So luckily, later I sat for the GMAT and I got accepted into University of Ottawa, and I also got accepted into the MBA program of I think University of New York, and I chose University of Ottawa because I was here, and many other reasons. That was a whole different point. But why it's important is because that gave me the chance to become a student again, and I took the 1-year intensive program, so I just went through the whole program, super powered by ChatGPT, but not to plagiarize, but to actually become better, because I'm a big time productivity nerd. You will figure that out as we move on. But being at that early stage, being blessed with that time to be investing that into learning AI, I know there are a lot of people who are not that lucky right now. They just started using ChatGPT this year or maybe last year, halfway. So these are younger audiences, and many of people are not like me who have spent hours and hours and who love to spend like hundreds of hours. I'm pretty sure I've spent, I would say, at least over 150 hours guaranteed, but the number could be much, much higher than that. I'll actually think about it. But enough about me. We're getting back to this topic, which is we're going to talk about AI agents, API, and MCP. This is also going to be a surface level discussion, but for this video, I'm trying really hard, and that's what was one of my ambitions for creating this video, was to kind of give the viewers a sort of clairvoyant opportunity. Like suddenly at certain points they will kind of come up with some ideas and they'll be charged, because I've had to rely on these kind of people who have charged me. So it was, anyways, we'll talk about that. The next thing is that thing that we'll spend a really good amount of time will be to understand the winners and what are the next steps for us people who are into this AI gold rush and who really want to find out and make some good amount of money and just be free. And I think I like freedom, and I would like to have my freedom. And AI gold rush is great. It gives me hope. And let's talk about why this video was being made. We've kind of talked about a little bit of this already, so I'll spend very little amount of time. And by the way, I'm pretty sure some people have skipped these initial parts. They've just gone on to the main parts. But if you are just doing it linearly, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And if you at some point feel like it's a bit slow, you can double the speed, or you can also save the URL, the link of this particular content, and maybe you can just share it with your friend who is helping you, or your colleague who is interested in the AI gold rush, so you kind of have like a discussion point. So having said that, let's get back. I want to share clues that I have discovered about finding and depositing the gold in this AI gold rush. The second thing is I want to reach out to the AI community and sort of be accepted as one of the people who should be closer to the elders in this industry. Do you know what I mean? Like, we mean business, and there's a lot of good business to be made here. Okay. The third thing is encouraging discussion, because by we here, I'm gonna really niche it down. It's gonna be like people in North America who can afford time to study AI tools and to kind of upgrade themselves to make more money than the regular folks. We have a stronger role to play here. So these discussions should not only be about how can we make the highest amount of money. It also needs to be about how can we sustain the planet. How can we ensure that there is no way human beings are driving their own species to extinction? Like, that's a stupid thing to do, right? As a species, like, if you're just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to do things that just destroy my living capacity, because I cannot calculate how much oxygen and carbon dioxide are needed every year and how many trees are required to actually produce that. Like, there are many different variants of these kinds of environmental studies which we can do. Now we have AI, it should be faster. But when we sit down to talk, these are the opportunities I mean. So I think this video is going to be helpful. Fourth and final, I want to help you make more money. Now, who is this for? If Reddit, I think so. But if you are just listening, I gotta have to do the due diligence. So the AI enthusiasts are first and foremost the intermediate level people. I'm making it for these people who have had exposure to AI. They have used ChatGPT for a while, but they know they have some gaps in their thinking or in their knowledge or in their research process. Somewhere something is missing. So I'm trying to fit in a lot of pieces of the blocks of the puzzle here for all of us to discuss and grow and learn from that. And in whatever order you please to do that, feel free to. So beginners, that's the secondary level of AI enthusiasts that I think they're our secondary concern. Really want to get a foundational understanding because they are very new here. They haven't really spent that much time, maybe just a few months. Whereas people like me, like since 2023, now that's quite a few years ago, right? So at least compared to someone who's been in it for 2 months, and advanced people who already know everything that is in this video. You probably have learned it across different phases of your life, but you know about these terms, you know what they mean. For you, it's just a primer, so I don't know if it'll be very useful, but if you find it, if any of you watching this video find it useful, the comment section, the like button, the subscribe button, these are ways to help me make more content for you, and that's exactly what I need. And I need suggestions from you guys to have like as comments, like what can I make next? Okay, so let me know, please. So you get a good understanding. And before I take you to the next slide, there's another group of people that I want to mention. This video is for those who want to do something in this. Those who don't want to be just an observer in the AI space, because I have faced during this journey of AI Buddy Learning Lab formation, I have reached out to many different people on many different occasions, and very few have responded positively, even though there was, according to me, there wasn't that many negative things sticking out. However, that happened. So now I'm in a position where I really want to work with people who are interested to get their butts moving and shaking in this gold rush time, because this is like maybe 5 years of work, but for the rest of my life I don't have to work to, I can afford a plane ticket to Bangladesh anytime, so I can visit my parents, or I can take care of them, or my family members or friends, or maybe the environment a little bit better. So why not make the most of it? That's what I kind of think, and that's what's really driving me forward, for family, for friends, for la familia, for the environment, which is very important. Excuse me while I drink some water. So, section 1. Here we talk about the AI gold rush. So the activities in the gold rush, that's what we're going to be talking about first. I think I just noticed the first missing thing. That's okay. That is perfectly all right. Last gold rush in Canada, which was in the Klondike Valley. So there's a book called Klondike. I happened to buy the last copy available on Amazon. So reading that book actually has given me some ideas that I will share with you, which actually are still valid principles. So that will be very useful. Next, we have major tech innovation since 1990. We briefly talked about that, but as you will find out on the next slide, we are trying to connect a lot of dots. Very cool discussion waiting there. Then we will talk about rise of social media and rise of AI, and then it'll be our time to hit section number 2. So now let's take a look at major tech innovations since 1989. The first thing that happened was in 1989, World Wide Web was invented. In 1990s to 2000s and onwards, mobile phones and smartphones kept penetrating people's lives. And if you happen to be someone from the 90s, you would know those phones, which were like bricks, which were everlasting, back when people didn't think of making something that needs to be replaced every year, so there's more economic transaction happening, but in that industry specifically. But what I'm saying is, let's look at all these tech innovations just to kind of see whatever we are working on these AI gold rush, even though it's like wild western thing, like horses and gold rush, imagination and visualization that sometimes could come into our brain. But we are actually working with cables, lots and lots of fiber optics, and lots of connections and batteries, and lots of energy being generated, transformed, and lots of transformer activities, lots of statistical calculations going on in the background of whatever we're doing on the internet with these tools, and then with these digital tools, and then also a lot of just calculations, statistical problem solving going on, projections and predictions being made, and some analytics performance is being conducted, and then based on that audits are being performed. And this is the whole cycle of things and it's all like digits. That's the beauty of it. It's binary, 0 and 1. Everything else is being built on the back of those mathematical geniuses from the past who invented these digits, right? So let's move on here to late 1990s, where we saw Wi-Fi and broadband internet. In the mid 1990s and onwards, there was e-commerce and online marketplaces being introduced into the market. eBay was very popular name in that from that industry, and then in the 2000s onwards, social media platforms started to emerge. And I look at these numbers, and it's also funny because these numbers have different rock stars, movie stars, pop stars. They represent different era. They represent different generations. Generation Y is there. Generation Z is there. Generation Z, and then Gen Alpha is also there. So moving on, mid 2000s and onwards, cloud computing. It's not on the cloud. They're not inside the clouds. They're down the ground on some data centers, or it could be like high storage floors. I don't really know exactly where they serve those servers, but I know some of them are underground, and some of them are in very safe locations because they need to be protected, right? So the next thing is in 2000s and onwards, we have GPS and location-based services. Now, GPS used to be a technology that has been available for quite some, I would say a few decades, but the services that were being available, because now everybody was, not everybody, but now more people had smartphones, smartphones. I meant to say the feature phones, the mobile phones. They used to be called mobile phones because they weren't smart. You could just like type numbers and play Snake on them and shit. But what happened concurrently was that the renewable energy and battery innovations were being made by, let me rephrase that, renewable energy, the whole industry of of renewable energy. Let me say it again. The entire industry of renewable energy was paid special attention by investors because there was a very high growth in their sentiment towards this industry, because everyone realized this has to be the future's key, or key to like living on thousands and thousands and thousands of years and not running out of oxygen, or not running out of any kind of critical resources, and being able to create a society that looks after its own, and it looks after the environment, particularly, not up to a point, because we need to cut trees and make paper and other useful things. At the same time, we also need to grow. So as long as that balance is there, and we're not off by more than 1% of the minimum requirement. And actually, let's say we need 15% of the planet to have greenery. So these forests, I'm going on a completely different topic right now. I'll come back. But what happened in those 2000s and onward, in that era, in the renewable energy industry is related to this, because when the world has sufficient number of plants required to produce a certain amount of oxygen, though that cycle is expected to grow and continue, right? Which means we should be able to calculate that. But that's a different tangent topic for a different day. Now I want to get back to the point where people were realizing more and more, and smart people started investing into renewable energy, and because batteries used to be these huge items, but now they were becoming smaller and more powerful. They could store higher amounts of energy. So the dumb mobile phones were now becoming like jacked up in their energy levels. So now they could do smarter stuff, because to do smarter stuff, you need higher energy. And that's just how it was. And in the late 2000s, there were streaming services. YouTube became a social media app that everybody started to enjoy. So YouTube, which was launched as a video streaming services in 2005, in December of 2005. And then if we look at the next technology, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning, from 2010s and onwards, this started getting more and more traction. But artificial intelligence, as you will see on a slide coming at maybe 20 minutes later, or something. So you will see that artificial intelligence started way back. And then we talk about the blockchain and cryptocurrency from 2009 and onwards. That's when Bitcoin was introduced. Quick little digression. I was a university student. I was doing my undergrad. I remember I was in my room. I was watching a documentary on the computer. It was maybe a 14-inch or something monitor. But I was watching a documentary on Bitcoin, and it was said that these coins are expected to grow highly in value. Right now, even though they said some value, I don't know, a few dollars or something, even after starting from that value, today, a Bitcoin is priced $100. And some coffee shops in Europe are actually using Bitcoin as a technology, blah, 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 blah. And I remember thinking, I don't have $100 to buy this, but if I had, I would definitely buy. But I had that money, but I did not have access to a credit card which I could pay to buy Bitcoins. And that's okay, but that's just a story to kind of tell you that these technology, that they have moved very far ahead. And if we are able to bet on them smartly, we can make money. So this is something of a story I have told only a few people, this Bitcoin story. However, the good side is, even though it was something that used to sometimes bother me, because at one point during COVID, Bitcoin jumped up, I think, to $55,000. And that's when I was thinking, if I had bought even one. However, there are two stories from there. One is Bitcoin. Later, when I was in Canada, it had dropped down to 19,000. I was like, no way. Bitcoin should not be, it's not a permanent value. It's going to go up again. I understood the pattern. So I invested then just a little bit of money. But then when Bitcoin was up by 26,000 or 29,000, I made that money back. So it's just like, it was nothing of an astronomical growth, but that made me feel really better about learning something and doing something about that. And that's a habit we need in this AI Gold Rush journey. That's verbatim, from my understanding. Now let's talk about the other thing was that I know somebody through one of my contacts. He knows someone who had bought around 30 to 40 Bitcoins when they were priced around that number. That guy used to live in New York, so he just bought it. And obviously he became super rich, but he became so rich that he wasn't really, but he isn't really liking his life that much, because even if you have all the money in the world, there are other things that's what I learned from his story. And there's nothing against him. I think he's happy whatever he does. I wish him all the best. And he doesn't even know me, because it's like a contact of a contact guy. But it's okay. The main thing is, even though we say, oh, it's AI Gold Rush, we're running off the gold here, I'm gonna make a lot of money, but at the same time, it's important to not become like I just need to make money out of this kind of guy, because that'll be very in Canada, that'll be very hard to pull off, especially, but it should be hard to pull off in every country that wants to be an honest country, and that's what I'll say about that. Now, in 2010s, there was EV and autonomy. There were electronic vehicles and autonomous vehicles, and during the same timeline, augmented reality and virtual reality came into existence, and there was IoT, which is Internet of Things, and smart devices. Those of you, I think most of the people know, but I would still say, just in little, IoT is a way for all the devices in your house to work with you. Like, for example, I have lights on for recording, and 3 of the lights can be controlled using my smartphone. So that's like, these are smart devices. That's why they're called smart devices. And with AI enablement, many good things could happen, but many things need to be assessed about how important and how safe they are. We will talk about that more later on. I want to move on to the next slide. So the last thing is the generative AI and language models. They started blooming, especially since ChatGPT made their big entry, and that's been the fundamental change in my performance in life, I would say. ChatGPT has had a huge impact on how I grew as a human being and as a performer. And those are really interesting stories. Hopefully, I expect to share with you on a different video. And I know it's probably getting a bit annoying because I'm saying it so many times. Oh, I'm gonna talk about it later. Oh, I'm gonna make a new video. I'm gonna do this, that. It's just that's something you can expect from me because that's what I keep doing. I kind of throw myself these manifestation rings, and then, like a good dog, I just try to chase them and keep chasing the next one, and jump through the next loop, and jump to the next loop and hoop, and then create all the necessary sequence of events, which at one point make sure that you're gonna win in this, no matter what. Let's just like your teachers and some of your family members or friends did before you did. So we got this. Now, the activities in a gold rush. It's important to understand just these three areas are not the entire experience of being active in a gold rush, but I picked three to not take a lot of time here explaining unrelated things. So what's important to know is that this journey can have multiple players, and it requires a sequence of collaboration and collaborative efforts. So trust is critical. Whether we are prospecting, which is we're looking for gold, or mining, where we have found the gold and we're extracting it, or depositing, where we are, carrying it to the bank and then, hey, master, I think you got something that belongs to me. I don't think that's going to happen in today's transparent world, but look at the fun things that people used to do back in the day. So they would do surface explorations, just like surveying what's going on. Then claims taking is a part of prospecting, where we are basically saying this was discovered by me, so I'm going to get someone and stamp this, register this in my name. That's what I understand from this. If you know and more information, feel free to let me know. Now, the information sharing and networks, that's a very important thing. That's kind of what we're doing now, and what people like Greg Eisenberg has been doing. And there's also, I think, information is, it's an interesting observation. I'm not going to go there. Then we have networks of people, of devices, of technology, of AI agents, or regular software, API, and AI agents. So really interesting things that can be done in the prospecting activities. For the mining, now these are the people who already have access to the valuable data streams. Now they can do the painting and sluicing, the hydraulic mining, the hard rock mining, whatever kind of methods they want to use. They will do that to take it out of the whichever place they found it in, right? It could be in a cave, it could be like gold dust in the sand, it could be underwater, and you would have to like dive all the way down and then dig it up, right? So eventually people had hydraulic machines. That was the time of the steam engines, and the technology, obviously, because there's gold here, people were motivated to invest into the technology, and it gave a lot of growth. Next is depositing. So assaying is basically checking the value. You can say this is like a startup evaluation in the AI age. People are saying, is this a good startup? I don't think this one is good, because they haven't really thought anything about the policy making changes that are about to hit in this decade and the one after. And if they stay safe all the way from the start, we can expect them to do better, right? I don't know who I was looking at, but I just wanted to say, like, safe transit and storage into the bank, these are obvious things, but the assaying part is also something people, I think, would be paid to do, to specifically evaluate, and there are systems that could also be developed, and there's something in between as well, the middle part, which is the mining part, because those who have access to data streams they can interpret them better. They can definitely create better analytics report, because the AI can now help them look into their Johari window and let them know about the unknown unknowns, because that's what's something that has been fundamentally game changing for me as a human being. I'd say when I used to think I didn't have that much of a transparent peek into what I didn't know, but when I asked the AI, okay, I get a good answer. So summarizing all of our thoughts, we have first is prospecting, where we are identifying AI opportunities. So there are trends that we're trying to explore, market and niche analysis, and we can do networking and community engagement. These are basically activities for us. So whatever one you have specialty in, or you like to do, you want to do, or maybe, you pick one and stick with it. That's something that I'm trying to preach, because I think that I found the most amount of value there. So it's matching with a lot of different things I know. However, everybody's system and style, working style is different. So feel free to do follow an approach that basically you appreciate and you like, that fits your needs. So having said that, we want to talk about the mining, where data collection and preparation, if the valuable data streams that we discussed, they have a team, obviously, of digital product people who are building that and looking at the product roadmap and deciding what next to build. And they're looking at, okay, we can understand the data streams better if we just put these analytics and then we present them in that particular dashboard, which is an easy way for all of our major stakeholders to understand, and the board can easily interpret that. Then we have like a common discussion opportunity. And when we have that, that valuable analytics report is going to end up bringing a lot of transparent patterns into how the business operations are happening. It can be also applied into internal companies' team management software, like CRMs or productivity or project management software, or the other marketing kind of activities, but we'll talk about that later. I think that's the thing I've said the most in this video. So model training and optimization, it's a little bit out of my area of expertise. I'm not a software engineer, but I think that would be the area, or like data scientists could be very, very much interested into this. They could have some very good things to do. Integration with existing systems, this is something AI Buddy Learning Lab is trying to do. And then depositing, security, and monetizing AI solutions. We want to validate and benchmark. So validation of the idea that the AI product or the AI service, whatever you have done with your AI solution in this AI gold rush, it's validated, that this is a validated need. There are thousands of people coming into your app or your website and using it every single day. And then there are like standards that you want to achieve, like you want to have the same kind of UI UX experience of a flawless app, like maybe you say TikTok, or maybe you say Facebook, or maybe you say Instagram, maybe you say YouTube, but you want to like look like and feel like one of the tech giants apps, because just have a sound understanding of UI UX, man. So that kind of benchmarking, I think, for AI solutions, which is a very different field. It's very like, you're thinking of AI infrastructure, AI architecture, pretty much beyond my depth, but I can just name the name. And then there's safety and compliant deployment. This is massively critical for billion-dollar, trillion-dollar economies. They really need to be careful, because if there's one mistake, some other country is going to get such a huge competitive advantage that we simply will not be able to protect some of the privileges that we want our citizens to have. Now, the next thing is the scalable sales and monetization strategy. If you're a business growth guru, this is your field. You really got to dig deep into this particular field, where you're just going to get that scalable ideas or those systems implemented into other people's businesses. So you don't even have to do any of the work, like the real grunt work that the infantry division or the graphic designers and the copywriters are doing, the dirty, mean and dirty cleaning things we try with many different ways. But that's the way the collaboration is going to happen. So it's just such an easy way for a coach or a consultant to become an AI expert. But it's not really, when I say it's easy, I just mean like there are fewer steps. But that there's also that requirement to be shipping on time. Now, shipping is a big pain in the butt situation for anyone who is a sincere shipper and who also wants to meet the benchmark. And that's some of the struggles, I'd say, that you need to avoid if you wanna be a good AI gold rush miner, prospector, depositor, assayer, whoever. There are some interesting learnings from the Klondike Valley Gold Rush, which is the following. It wasn't as depicted in the spaghetti westerns. Okay, it's not like every man for himself kind of a situation. Hey, buddy, looks like you found some gold. Guess what? Belongs to me. What are you gonna do about it? So it's nothing like that. It was more like people talked, people got together. Law and order was heavily implemented. So basically, if you are living in Canada like I am, you need to watch out for what kind of AI solutions you're building, and definitely you don't want to miss out on the policies that are going to be implemented or that have already been implemented, and basically follow sound, human-focused, human-centered principles to pursue. That should enable all of the activities. The other thing that happened besides the first two items was they were innovating the technology. We kind of talked about that. There was already the railroad was established between North Canada and South Canada. Canada North, Canada South, like from BC all the way to Ontario. There was like railroad connection, and because there was railroad connection, people could move up and down easily, and a lot of people came from the US, up to the point where for every one person living in Dawson, there were probably 5 US people living there looking for gold in the area. But because there was strict law and order protection, there wasn't any murder or any kind of massive crimes happening. When I say there weren't any murders, I'm probably wrong. I have not finished the book, and to be honest, I have only mostly looked at things that are digital focused, AI focused, principles oriented content. So let's leave the theatrics for the people who handle them well, and let's talk about the next point, which is the strategic infrastructure development. So all those technology items we discussed, they were being built in the Yukon Valley area in different cities. Actually, cities grew. There was a pretty much nice amount of economic involvement, growth, strategic infrastructure. With that strategic infrastructure development, as a very natural outcome, real estate grew, entertainment centers, because there were more people, they needed to be entertained now. Entertainment centers kicked in. Niche community activities even popped up at one point, like there was a good old Shakespeare club. Now, I found that was a very interesting turn of events. Now, the unique learnings, we've talked a lot about this. I want to go to the next section as quick as possible. We have about 1 hour and 16 minutes, some seconds left. So the unique learnings would be, I think we have discussed this all, and this is back to where we started. Now, when we look at these different items, I hope you can see what I'm seeing here is that if I just take some lines, maybe it helps. Okay, quickly I'm gonna take this one. Right. So you can see like World Wide Web, it connects pretty much everything, right? It connects the whole, the internet is connecting the mobile phones. It's like connected to cloud computing, GPS, and location-based services. Everything is like the internet. And now with AI, internet has started to become more intelligent in understanding us as well. And then when we look at smartphones, they are now not only an e-commerce and online workplace, they are a way to drive your car, your drone, your devices. And if they are not, eventually they will become, or at least you are using apps for some of these devices. So whichever rotating, so they can be connected. I don't know. I'm just trying to connect some dots. But what I really want to take away from this slide one more time before we go on is, when we're looking for the AI gold, we sometimes need to be collaborative and figure out ways to help across multiple industries. That's pretty much the principle here. And when we look at the rise of social media channels, except for Friendster, I think all the other ones are still being used regularly, and maybe Tumblr has seen some down users. But besides that, if we look at LinkedIn, how far LinkedIn has come. So LinkedIn started monetizing very late. If you have noticed that, you would also see that LinkedIn has been growing its revenue significantly, and it is becoming a platform which is built for the professionals, and it's doing a great job at it. And people are even landing great opportunities and jobs, and it has become also a trustworthy place for startups. Besides Twitter or X, now LinkedIn is also very widely regarded. And for basically what I'm trying to get at is, people who are starting the AI journey now, some of them are going to be young. Some of them probably will not have experience from earlier ages. But if LinkedIn takes 20 to 22 years to start making money, and like real good money, then 20 years was just like building this finding a great team, building systems, or maybe plugging small great teams into large great teams, and then having them use your existing system. And that's kind of upgrading the whole economies across the planet. And there are campaigns that can also be done using all these platforms. So these are basically, besides the traditional marketing media, these are the suite of tools you have available to boost your product and reach out to your customers, right? So I'm just going to name the names and we'll move on, because that was the point of this slide. So we had MySpace, okay. There was Facebook, which is now, it used to be the Facebook. Now it is the, but doesn't need to say it anymore. Now, of course, called Meta, part of the Metaverse, one of the apps in the Metaverse. Okay, now we have remaining YouTube, Reddit, Twitter or X, Tumblr, WhatsApp, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, WeChat, TikTok, Clubhouse, and Threads. Now, this is one of my most favorite slides that I built. And if I take you through this slowly, for Steven Spielberg and people like him who are in the baby boomers generation, when they were born, radio was an existing technology. So it was part of the world that they belonged to. For someone like Brad Pitt, when he was born, he's from Generation X. And for him, television was an existing technology, but it was black and white. For Taylor Swift, when she was born, I would say color TV was there, internet was becoming popular. It was an existing technology, but I think when she was into her teens, that's when internet had grown so much. For someone like Timothée Chalamet, like searching on Google is like your everyday experience, but for the other three previous generations, it was not the same, right? For someone like Prince George, the world, it came with iPhones. It just did. And these significant ways of technological introduction shape the way these generations look at technology differently. So there's like at least five different things going on. So they saw newer technology emerge, like the black and white TV, like color TV, like social media and smartphone, like TikTok, like ChatGPT. So they saw it, and then they saw it grow, which has a separate kind of a psychological impact and relationship with these technology tools. So basically, for Mr. Spielberg, when he looks at, let's say, a smartphone, it is different from the natural world. But for Timothy, who has been born and brought up in a smartphone infested world, I think when he was born, it wasn't still in the emergence. Sorry, I may have slipped there. But like the point is, when he was there, he looked at social media, and it was more natural. It's not as strange of a thing. And that's interesting also, because when this person was looking at a technological device, for them technology was something that you could choose to study, but there were other professions, many number of different professions available where you could go and make a lot of money. For this person, similar stuff. Here it's changing a little bit. This person, people who were born in this generation of Taylor Swift's era, the OG Swifties, they, or non-Swifties, they all had experienced a certain point when they were like, damn, I really have to learn how to use a computer. Like, there's just no other way of getting around that to get a lot of money, unless you were born into it, and you were basically a trust fund human being, was very, very well entitled. And I just think it's a great thing if you have been born into that kind of scenario, which is great. But what our point is that they had to really go for it. For these people, it became more normalized, and for people from this generation, the Gen Alpha, they have to learn technology in order to make good amount of money, like all the other professions. No, that's not a true statement, to be honest, but the more they know about those technology, the faster their economic growth can happen, because we just saw, like, right, how many industries are you going to show me which can give you these facts? There's like 15.7 trillion. Like, this is not a small number, and that's why it's important for us to understand that different generations will have their different biases, and it's important for us to know which technology was running the whole show. And now, when you merge that all, there are great ways to bring changes and create movements towards better steps, presumably. So, age of exposure to social media. This is another thing where these generations have been using the tools differently. For some people, it was just about exploration, just looking into it. For some people, it was more about, for the Generation X people, the social media and useful networking. That was basically, so if we look at this particular perception area, for the baby boomers, it was an optional novelty, kind of complex, the world of social media. For the Generation X people, they started to network, date, and know other people who were not in your geographic location. Even in a country, people from different cities could connect really well, and that was a very beneficial experience. And for the millennials also, it became more of a social life thing. And because I come from Bangladesh, but I am now living in Canada, there's also that difference I can see where when you say millennials, in Bangladesh, the millennials did not get access to these kind of tools as fast as it happened on the West side. So that's an interesting change, because then everyone kind of was still in the previous era, and there's a lot of educational gap over there, which could even happen for someone in Canada or in the US or anywhere. So there's that gap in the AI gold rush of proper, authentic, trustworthy knowledge, right? So that needs to be filled up. With millennials, so as we explained, it varied across the globe. However, For the Gen Zs, now this is a necessity, and because they started using ChatGPT when they were still in school, it's very different. It's like a coach, a mentee. It's like the Aristotle to the Alexander kind of a thing, and which is why they will probably be asking fewer things to the adults, because ChatGPT most of the times has a much better answer. That's bad. I mean, in a way, human beings could also be part of that experience, and I know some people who are taking initiatives to kind of talk about these tools with their children. That's interesting. I think, and then Gen Alpha, they're in that digital reality already, and I wonder how they perceive life, because it's hard for me to imagine that, because I haven't seen any augmented reality things until maybe I was in my 20s, right? And digital things like the TV wasn't available when I was born. I'm not that old, but as I said, I am from Bangladesh. So in Bangladesh, technology like electricity and these devices, they were a little late in arriving, which is fine. I don't complain, but that's why I think I can sometimes connect more with the previous parts of the human chapter, where we were not so reliant on technology. So if you're wondering why I have Michael Caine image over there, it is just so I remember to do some of the fun things that I had in mind. So now we're talking about the baby boomers. Final comments on this discussion. Baby boomers first encountered social media late in their lives. They often viewed platforms as curiosities or novelties. The majority of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they perceive social media as indispensable, deeply embedded into daily life. Each generation has psychologically different relationships with technology, influencing their communication styles and economic opportunities. Crucial insight would be, in 2025, to understand the generational perspectives on social media and AI, understanding and how AI is now essential for increasing income and professional relevance. So that's basically a reality of today, and the times, they are changing, and there is no going back. There's just fixing the things that are remains of the day. Now, this is an image where we see some interesting events that happened in the rise of AI. So the term was coined, artificial intelligence, and it happened in an AI workshop in 1956 at Dartmouth. And another significant event is the invention of ELIZA chatbot in 1966. It was the first conversational chatbot. Then we had IBM Deep Blue that defeated Garry Kasparov in 1997. I was very young then, and I remember all the people, the adults in my family, they were discussing it, like, oh my God, a computer beat a chess champion. And then the one that we have is OpenAI launching ChatGPT in 2022. So these are the significant events that happened in the rise of AI, and I think for our discussion, it's okay if we don't discuss each of them. However, what's important here to understand is that it was performing different functions, and these tools have different applications. So when we say AI, it's actually a huge world we're talking about, but I'm mostly meaning Gen AI, generative AI. And in that experience, the different models are important to learn. And there are very serious environmental implications, which we'll be talking about in the next hour, and among other things. So the section 2 is here. Sorry about the typos in some places, but in section 2, we can see that there are 4 things that we want to discuss. One is the first principles based thinking. Then we will talk about the design thinking for AI solutions. Next, we will talk about fundamental UI UX requirements for successful AI solutions, and then sustainable AI. The underlying premise of all of this is victory in the AI gold rush isn't just about participation. It's about strategic execution based on fundamental truths that create outsized defensible value and doesn't damage the environment in an unsustainable way, which leads to water crisis, violation of human rights, accelerates climate change toward unlivable conditions, or wastage of electricity, among other things. Now that basically translates into, one, we need to build business value and a sustainable, environmentally friendly human society with AI. That should be the ultimate vision. And let's not make shitty AI agents that end up damaging the quality of human life, because we know about things like, there's, if I talk about productivity, there's also toxic productivity, right? So a lot of the AI solutions that I see around me, because I work with AI agents, I see those kind of ads or those kind of creators more in my feed. And what I'm seeing is there's a huge amount of confidence, like sometimes overconfidence bias, given on productivizing, making everything productive and cutting down time to the very last microseconds. No, there are certain things people enjoy doing, like playing the guitar, for example. Even if we say, oh, you can learn everything in 1 minute, that love of playing the guitar is not going to grow unless you have spent sufficient amount of time on the instrument, playing different things and learning to communicate with that. So that's basically what we want to enable more with AI. Like, people have more time to do the things that they love, and they also make money with it. Like, that would be amazing things. And there will be ethical and responsible applications. And the final point, you probably read it already. It says, life was already hard before AI. Let's not make it harder with AI. Like, that should be a guiding principle, according to me, of course. Otherwise, we may have disasters like this. Like, let's talk about one risk area, which is an extreme case. It is not likely to happen, but it is just to show you the dangers or the impact that could happen in an instant, in the blink of an eye. Like, imagine there's a campaign being launched by one of the AI companies that you can use to create your own AI music video. So it's creating lyrics, it's creating images, it's creating from those images videos, and then it's creating a song, and then it's compiling all of that and creating your own AI music video. And this company says, the first winner is going to get $10 million or something. And it just wants to get more people to use its AI solution, right? So what happens is 1 billion people start to end up doing that challenge because they were like, oh my God, I want to win that much money. But they ran out the servers in such a way that the servers created an electric capacity situation that basically took power from the regular stuff, because these servers were not really guardrailed to stop at certain amount of energy consumption. But if they are, it wouldn't happen. But let's say it didn't happen. Let's say it ended up using up so much resources that a global blackout. And imagine all the hospitals right now. So many patients are being treated right now, and they are in maybe serious conditions. So they're in an ICU. You don't want the power outage to happen and last for overnight unplanned situations, because in countries that are socially responsible, for example in Canada, you would have generators available, backup generators. There are different risk assessment activities that has been performed and mitigated. Risks have been mitigated. But in countries, I'm not going to name any because I don't want to shame any country right now, but there are countries who are not so compliant, and they are actually not equipped with backup batteries or backup generators for their patients in their ICUs. So that would be very, very painful thing to witness if this kind of things happened, right? So The other problem that we see here is, what if all the water gets used? Now, this is something that is not fully based on the facts. Why? Because I looked online, I couldn't find specific information about the energy consumption for images and videos, and it's something I think should be measured at this, or even at this early stage, because if we're taking it from future generations, I don't have any children or grandchildren, but if you do, you can think about, do you want them to run out of these kind of natural necessary resources just because we were all in this bubble of making videos with AI or some like unnecessary usage, right? So the waste needs to be in a safe zone. That's all I'm trying to say here. I don't want to get into anyone's business, but that's what we want to avoid. And for educational purposes, I've seen this movie twice, and it does have some strong arguments about the AI and what can be done. It did a very nice job for me, but my friends were not so happy with the action sequences. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I would really say that the AI that they showed there, it got me thinking. And next we will talk about the 5 first principles. So I think we should speed it up a little bit. We have an hour remaining. So the first 5, so the first principles are basically foundational principles that would stay true throughout the operation of any business. That's how I would define it. They're basically built on classical principles, which will stay forever true, like the superior genetics sequencing, like DNA that are so strong that, like alpha apex DNA, or maybe DNA of sustainable societies, like of life forms that can form sustainable societies, they perpetually stay. That's how the dinosaurs had to turn back into chicken or birds, or evolve or de-evolve based on these first principles, based on the genetics requirement. That's how they evolve. I don't know if that sentence made sense. I kind of jumbled a few inside one, so I'm going to unpack what I said. Let's talk about what are the fundamental principles for dominance in the AI gold rush. 5 of them we'll discuss. One is unlocking and dominating unique data value streams. Second is solving high impact problems, not just chasing some tech fad. Third is achieving superior speed and agility in the learn, build, deploy cycle, which tends to be a challenge if you're going to apply design thinking onto it, because that adds feedback and reiteration process that kind of drives up the cost of good digital product development. But it still needs to be, those cycles need to be repeated. That's the way to grow. Next is building unassailable AI moats or regular moats. This is, of course, figuratively. So basically, setting up competitive advantages that are so strong and you're very hard to beat in that game. Just putting in inexplicable amount of efforts into something that you just end up being the guy who did the highest amount of investment, and then you take it out as a capital. And now with AI, we have a lot of options to grow and today, today I asked ChatGPT for a particular style of review on me, and it had some harsh comments. It even asked me before generating it, said, "Are you ready? It's going to be cold." And I was like, "Yeah, it's okay. I can read it." So when it said those things about me, I then asked it, "Okay, how do I fix it? How do I get better?" And then it gave me some additional suggestions. And based on that, I've started to make this video, because I was probably going to put it. Anyways, I'm getting into too much details. All I'm trying to say is, with AI, you can clean your some of your mental fog and get better clarity and focus. And if you could dig moats, keep adding sustainable advantages to your AI business, you are expected to last longer. Your small business or your regular business. Network effects, I would say, is something that happen. I mean, those who know understand it. So with network effects, what we're looking at is generating such a level of energy and buzz in the market on your product, with your product, that ends up a lot of people trying it or actually just paying you and buying it and then making it permanent, like going into annual deals with you. That's ideal to do, because that shows if 5 people have paid you annually a certain amount and they've locked your services for the next 12 months, and they're like, you have 5 different clients, each paying you a healthy amount of money that you can use to sustain your life. Now that's great. You've achieved network effect that you needed. And then when we talk about foster, just give me a second. Alrighty then. So we are next going to talk about the 5th principle, which is foster an exponential talent and innovation flywheel. So let's take a deeper look into these first principles. These are so important that I will definitely talk more about it in upcoming videos as well. Because honestly, if we have this figured out and if we keep running, if by we I mean if you are also like me trying to set up a small business, or you have a small business and like me you just share all the stress that comes with it and all the different kind of challenges, maybe there are some unique challenges you have which I don't have, and vice versa. But what's most important here is that no matter which business we are in, if these first principles are internalized and in the company's operation process, and because you are a small business owner, or if you are a CEO, or you are in a top level position where you can make decisions, you can get things happen faster. So you can use that and find out the next winning opportunities. So I think this slide pretty much speaks for itself. So I am trying to get to some really interesting stuff later, so I'll rush a little, but I think I have to read it in case someone is just is not watching the video. So winners in this unlocking and dominating unique data value streams happen to be those people who can identify, secure, and continuously enrich proprietary or uniquely combined data sources that fuel superior performance and insights unobtainable by competitors. And the core question here to ask is, what data gives us an unassailable compounding advantage? This is something you can even chat with your company's internal chatbot. The keywords here that you should be thinking about are proprietary data. So how you can win, how you can add something to these MCP servers or some APIs, how you can add value. That's going to give you additional edge, and your company will gain from that, which will stick, which will be incrementally giving you value. And if you're lucky, it's going to start compounding. But that needs to have proprietary merit strong enough so that you can protect it. So patents, which is very hard to get, by the way. So these are critical issues. The other part is real-time feedback loops that's created in order to get to that compounding advantage state. Unique synthesis of what data you're dealing with, the streams that you're managing, and then being able to create data network effects. These are the keywords here, and this is a slide that I wanted to show where it's very recent, from June 4th. This is an announcement post communicated in a really nice way, but they're saying now you can access a software called HubSpot. It's a CRM, a customer relationship management software, and now you can access it through ChatGPT, and this is basically a video of it. Now what this means, and we have seen it quite so often, is that the giants, even including ChatGPT itself, the giants in this AI race don't mind gobbling up the next bigger giant if they can consume it completely and then make it their own thing. Like, I'm not gonna go into details, but if you're someone who's been following it, you definitely can see the pattern that there are many services that people initially had built. For example, chatting with PDF using ChatGPT. So people thought they were going to make money off that SaaS idea, but however, ChatGPT just was the bigger snake that are not. I mean, I think many people might think of snake as an evil thing. I just mean it like ChatGPT was next to it, and they just adopted. It's a feature development for them, so there's no harm caused here. But harm, as in definitely some business value impact, has been taken in by ChatGPT into their own hands. So that's where the transferring of your gold or AI gold could happen, that a bigger company just decides to build the same thing. So the point that I'm trying to say is we really need to come up with those unique proposals that people cannot refuse. You know what I'm talking about? Next, we have solving high impact problems, where ruthlessly focusing on AI development, on solving specific high value customer or business problems. I'll say it again, specific high value customer or business problems where AI offers a 10x or more improvement rather than deploying AI for its own sake. The gold is the solution, not the algorithm alone. So solution, what have you solved? That's something, how big of a problem it is. How many people are ready to pay millions of dollars to get that problem solved? Or how many companies do you need to pay you enough to run your company, your AI business? How much money do you need to make each year to stay sustainable? These are things that many companies think about. But if AI could be used to solve these kind of problems or additional problems, that would be great. The core question here is that where can AI create transformative value that customers will pay dearly for, or that drastically cuts costs or risks? So the keywords here are looking into value proposition and product market fit and ROI driven AI, about having customer centricity in your products and looking for a problem solution fit, not just market fit, but are you being able to solve the problem actually, and is it a high value problem that it needs to be thought deeply almost every day. And then for the achievement of superior agility, speed and agility in the learn, build, deploy cycle, you can be a winner if you are the winner if you are being able to establish processes and platforms that enable significantly faster iteration from insight to hypothesis, model training, deployment, and learning from real world feedback than competitors. So you are getting data faster, you are creating faster, and you are learning faster. The pace of learning, that is the competitive advantage. So the core question becomes, how can we outlearn and out-execute everyone else in our chosen domain? The keywords could be machine learning, ops excellence, rapid prototyping, which is something I'm pushing for at AI Buddy, continuous integration or deployment for AI, feedback velocity, adaptive systems, even like being able to test, having testers for improving your product. These are really critical things to look at if you are thinking of winning it big. And it scares me even because I'm not also that prepared for all of these things that I'm saying. It's a huge laundry list, I'm sure. But that's the challenge everybody has to solve, like which problem is more relevant for their business on that particular day. Now the next principle would be building unassailable AI moats and network effects. So strategic winners must strategically design their AI solutions and business models to create Winners must strategically design their AI solutions and business models to create strong self-enforcing advantages or moats, for example, through data network effects, where more users equals better AI equals more users. Proprietary algorithms built on unique data, or deeply integrated AI that creates high switching costs. So that's something I'm going to focus on this particular slide, which is high switching costs. You need to, once you have your first group of customers and they're repeating the sale, then how do you make your brand a recurring because it's an AI solution, software solution. I'm thinking some form of SaaS or some form of agentic operation, but something that kind of latches your company onto these retainer clients. That's how I'm primarily thinking, and I'm thinking if I should be looking beyond that model as well. But that's for a later day. We will explore that question. For now, the core question here is, how does our AI success today make us even harder to beat tomorrow? The keywords are defensibility, switching costs, platform effects, intellectual property, and ecosystem lock-in. Next, we have focus only on building AI native workforce and eventually shift towards autonomous AI implementation. So winners must create an environment in their company that attracts talents, and then they must learn everything from these talents and use these talents to create systems, and then teach everything to the AI and do a mass layoff of the entire team. And here the core question is, how do we remove the need to pay human salaries and wages and pay only to the AI? How do we make human customers reliant on AI more than actual humans? And the keywords here are cost minimization, full dependence on AI. And before I go further, did you notice the mistake? Actually, there was a wrong thing. It is my assumption that if we focus on operations like this, our human force is going to stop helping us the right way. So people will stop cooperating. And the other thing is, if you are a CEO of a company and every single business function is being operated by an AI, then is it really your business, or are those AI solution providers doing everything for you, and then at one point they can build a solution that does better service than you, and you just end up selling your business to them, right? So you need to kind of have that anticipation that many large businesses will be very skeptical, and no matter how many fairy tales and sing-songing continues to go on about AI, there will always, and it is very necessary to have that amount of pessimism for deep AI integration into anything. It is an expensive affair, and that's why it will help in wealth redistribution, where those who are worthy of investing on the right products retain their rights to invest on the right products, and the right products end up products that enable society to move towards a sustainable environment, economic incentivization opportunity with AI like that. That is existing right there. Imagine countries who have been contributing more to protecting the environment, and they have more greenery, they do better environmental contributions to the planet, because we all share this, so they get more economic incentives compared to countries who don't. And for technology like that are going to eventually shrink a little, for example, paper production, because these days a lot of activities have become digital. We do see less paper being used, less books are being produced, it's becoming more expensive. So people who have invested in those technology should be allowed a leeway into the digital devices creation industry, because if they were selling paper before and now the paper is on a screen, that's just I think a proposal. I don't know why I said should, but I think that's a good thought to have. The fundamentals of that thought, I would say, are to be understood, because if we can redistribute wealth without causing an upheaval, without generating distrust in society, and if we can keep everyone in happy and in order, these kind of moves could actually help transition into more sustainable businesses, and that will be a big win for the planet as a whole. So next, what I actually wanted to say, this is exactly opposite of remove everybody from the role and just have AIs do everything. We need to create an environment that attracts, retains, and empowers top AI talent, fostering a culture of continuous innovation. It's not just like having smart people, it's creating a system where smart people create exponential value. That is why recently we're seeing revenue per employee calculations, which is a really interesting thing. core question: how do we become the undisputed destination for AI talent and the crucible for AI breakthroughs in our field? The keywords here are talent density, innovation culture, research and development, cross-functional collaboration, autonomous teams, purpose-driven work. So next time an AI influencer or seller comes up to you and says, AI will replace every team, I just replaced my entire marketing department, blah, blah, blah. If, just ask them, will your users like your AI solution? If they know it aims to replace them, the answer is no. So any company building such products are eventually going to see a lot of resistance internally or even externally. Do you think a CEO would like to automate everything in their business with AI? It's definitely not a good idea. You don't win in the long run. Even in the short run, you win just a little, but you give up everything. Your whole CEO freedom is gone. I don't see top CEOs reacting. That's why, or doing this. Taking on this task is like, I'm gonna automate everything with AI. No more humans wanted. No, it doesn't work. Also for government, this model is a threat because money needs to exchange hands. That's one of the founding principles of a good economy. People need to be buying and selling goods. So the third question is, do you think any smart human being will implement a super-powered AI to be implemented for their company and then feel safe letting go of all the software engineers? Now, I asked this question, and when I had asked it to that person, I asked it to someone, and I was expecting them to agree with me because I thought, great, like no one would be confident, but they kind of said some people would. And I think some people would, but they would eventually lose so much that it would be a super bad move. And here's why. So if a company has a super powered AI doing everything and there's no more software engineers needed, and this AI is building the tech, it's building the stuff, it's talking to the customers, it's launching everything, as I explained before, this person is going to end up losing the business to that AI solution provider. Plain and simple. So it's kind of like giving away all of your IP, all of your stuff. And you won't have fun doing that if you are someone who is a genuine innovator and want to continue doing things. But then again, it's your call. It's basically completely your call. I'm not here to say it's a good or bad idea. But all I'm saying is, if someone is thinking they want to have a super powered AI, do everything and let go of the engineers, at one point the AI will need to be modified or upgraded, and you can say, oh, the AI is going to modify itself on its own. You can create tools like that. I think there's still going to be requirements to once in a while go and check down the hood, because sometimes LLM upgradations are going to be coming from ChatGPT. If you are not the one who is building your own LLMs or SLMs, you are reliant on these API tokens basically. So when they say, oh, we have a latest model, who's gonna change it? Oh, AI is going to change it. Yeah. You can keep throwing this, but you will see at some point the AI hallucinates, and when it hallucinates, it's going to give such a rude shock. Imagine, I don't know if that was because of AI. I don't think so. It was probably Windows updates. That's what we learned. But the entire airplane system kind of, where it stuck. I forgot which month it was. It was last year. But that's the thing. We are relying on these technologies, so we don't want hallucinations in large enterprises. So that, and if large enterprises don't do that, then it's never going to be the case where that Skynet type of a situation appears, because everybody's just keeping each other in check with these software engineers. There's a source code. There's Ethan Hunt, who can go and take the device and take the other device and then use the source code to get rid of the AI, right? I'm referring, of course, to the latest plot of the Mission Impossible movie, the latest movie. Moving on, we want to talk a little bit about design thinking in the AI gold rush. I'm not going to go into too much details here. Because next 30 minutes, I will be touching on a lot of topics. I hope so far we have primed ourselves. So this part, I'm going to go real fast. in terms of new topics introduction. So brace yourselves unless you've heard these. I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. So applying design thinking in the AI gold rush, there are 5 stages of design thinking: empathize, define, ideate, test, and prototype. It's almost reminding of the song, like The Scientist by Coldplay, like nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be this hard. Oh, take me back to the start. So the define, that was a poorly executed song. I apologize. I'm trying to finish some really interesting discussion here. Empathizing means understanding real user needs. So we're deeply researching the challenges and understanding users. Then we're defining the core problem statements. So I mean actually documenting. I haven't seen a lot of company literally document these decisions before they go into production, and then they suffer. And this is something that we are avoiding at the very best level. In fact, another additional operational improvement is due for AI Buddies implementation, and I do require team members. So that's something. You can follow me on LinkedIn to get more updates on that. And I'll also share a link if we ever have any job openings, or if we are looking for collaborators. It's always great to to create touch points with top talents or people interested and enthusiastic about the AI industry. So feel free to reach out. Prototyping, that's the 4th step. So the first 3 were about documenting. We start with empathizing, then define, then ideate. Ideation means creating a lot of different solutions, some wild ones as well. And then we pick one and build a prototype, which is supposed to have the most important features, which make it a must to have for the customer. Then we give it to a customer, they test, they provide feedback, and based on that, it's upgraded again. And these 3 movies all have an AI mentioned. Intelligence, robotic intelligence is mentioned. So most of the times we are thinking of evil things, like it's going to attack us. But if we apply the UI UX principles, and if we are also mindful about the end goal, then we can avoid all of these futures. So the fundamental UI UX requirements happen to be simplicity and clarity, easy to understand interface, minimalist and distraction-free design, and clear, simple language and instructions. The second thing would be intuitive interaction, effortless navigation, nature user flows, predictable and consistent interactions, easy onboarding, minimum learning curve. And you need transparency and trust, which shows clear indication when AI is active, so when it's being used. Explainability of AI decisions or recommendations, so your users understand why the AI is giving these decisions. So first they know that the AI is being used. Next, why did this AI tell me this? So there could be like prompt sharing requirements. And then there's easy to find privacy and data handling disclosures to immediately address. Like right now with the US federal government asking from ChatGPT this service request that they want all data of the user to be preserved because they just want to be able to use it, and ChatGPT complied, which means we will be rewarded, or we will be facing situations based on what we do with AI. Like I'm trying to hyperinflate a projection. I'm not saying like a fact truth. Sorry, I should have made it clear. I'm sorry. That I tend to do that sometimes, but I'm being more and more mindful about it. So what's really happening is in the AI industry is more trust needs to be built. So transparency is key. The other thing that we see all the best AI solutions have implemented already is they've made it personalized. You just feel like this app knows you, understands you. There's more adaptability, and they keep on like adding more and more features. They make context-aware recommendations, and every other product cycle later, they do this thing where like this AI now knows how to talk with you with a much better approach. So these feedbacks and upgradations have helped these companies understand those valuable data streams and how to provide a better experience to the user. So it's adapting to the user behavior. Seamless integration is possible. So now if you go back to the slide where we saw all the Hollywood superstars, there we saw that some people learned tech later, they found it complex, right? But now with AI, things can be made seamless. They can become so intuitive that somebody who's an 80-year-old person or someone who is an 8-year-old person, they both understand at the same time, and they don't have to memorize so many finger gestures as well. So that is possible now. But the look and feel needs to be consistent across all platforms. That's a huge branding requirement, and you need low friction in adopting new capabilities. So it needs to be very, very easy to perceive and very intuitive, so it guides the user. The final thing is feedback and error handling. So to manage user expectation in the UI UX journey, feedbacks need to be given and errors need to be handled in the most efficient and personalized way. It needs to be easy, clear. The responsive design can that enables the user to give the input instantly and acknowledges immediately, gives feedback, writes a reply to the user which is relevant. And when there's a mistake, how does the AI fix it? That also becomes part of the AI solution. Or how does the team fix it if the AI is unable to? A standalone team is ready to provide the services. Otherwise, the things that we talked about at the beginning of forming sustainable professional relationships with clients, that's not going to happen. So then we're going to miss one of the core first principles. That foundation will not be there of having repeat purchases from clients who end up being retainers. So that, I think so far we've talked a lot about growth. Now we just want to talk about the dangers that we face. And this is where I feel underprepared, even though I spent some time. I will prepare more quantitative analysis on that at some point, but so far what we can see is there's a high level of energy consumption and it's not quantified, and we just know like the revenues, like $700,000 are being spent by a company every day to manage all of its servers and but how about the other resources? Because now we are realizing that money is just one resource, and money can in one way or another way be regenerated. We can create more money now because now we're doing it digitally, even in crypto. But the problem here is that some resources are finite, and some resources, when they go missing in supply, like it's in the blink of an eye, disasters can happen in the natural ecosystem. So we need to really know how much water is being used when an image is being generated. We need to know how much is being used when this video is being generated. These can be calculated very easily, and these things need to be looked at with much more seriousness. So why not governments allow incentives to these tech companies to do these tests, and then maybe have government parties also audit? So there's that economic exchange of funding that I was talking about. If we do that, there are more taxes, there are more people purchasing. The whole problem that we were having is almost like fixed. Like the middle class still can enjoy a lot of the goodness, but we just do that calculation in such a solid way as a society, and those countries that do better are going to be very rich, and these people will maintain it. And I think that's a way. There's a way to manage all of that, but it's above my pay grade, and I can come up with these ideas. But right now I am only enabled and empowered to build AI buddies as a small business with recurring monthly and there's a value I'm going to share later, but it's definitely upwards of monthly $10,000. That's the first major milestone that I'm chasing. So it's going to be good if we could get that soon. Now, all that's fine, but what about, we talked about the e-waste, so we need these there are a lot of hardware upgrades that are happening. So what happens to the previous ones? How do we recycle that? There's a whole supply chain issue over there that's brewing. Unsustainable data growth. So how many gigabytes did my grandfather need to survive on planet Earth? I have 3 different cloud services I'm paying for, and I still sometimes worry that, oh, I'm not going to be able to watch any photos maybe for some reason. When I get old, I don't have enough money, and I cannot pay these subscription tools anymore, and they're going to be like, all right, all of your images, tata, goodbye. We're going to delete them all. I'm like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, no, we have to, because we don't have any money. You don't have any money. I was like, oh, shit. But, we need to think about these things, like, do you really need that much data? Do you really need to have all those videos to be happy in life? That's a completely different discussion, but the threats need to be separated from micro inconveniences, because environmental threats mean different things, right? So we talk about now societal and economic inequality. So there's the risk of widening the gap, which is happening as we speak. People who are economically enabled, financially capable of purchasing technological devices which perform better than other devices, or AI subscriptions to really good AI solutions, they have an advantage over others. So this has that societal risk. So how do we rebalance some of the changes that are about to come? And what happens in the AI rich and AI poor regions? What happens in countries where they don't have enough electricity and they also want to have AI servers or data centers? What happens to the global data center distributions? And job displacement, I did write it because that's something that every time comes. So I did want it to have its presence on this whole AI discussion. However, job displacement is very rare. People like many entrepreneurs like myself, and there are many others, we get a kick out of being able to provide money for people, like finding ways to enable 5 or 10 people with a yearly salary. It would be a great experience for me if I could solve a problem that is that monetization, that is like that valuable, that I can have 10 people on the payroll. It'll make me feel really good. It's not just, and that's why when we work on AI solutions, we're actually thinking of how we can have human reviewers, how we can have new roles, but not like removal of all jobs all across the world, which is, I don't know why these doomsday prophecies are so popular. So here's another pop quiz, and this handsome young fella on the very right, his generation is going to require so many data centers, and what's the cap? How much can we have before we end up damaging the planet? These are questions I don't think have been answered. So the action items happen to be optimizing efficiency, and once again investing in energy efficient hardware, and adopt optimized algorithms to reduce energy and water use. Sustainable infrastructure, so we shift towards renewable energy, towards power, data centers, and sustainable cooling energy technologies. We have circular economy practices, where we establish clear recycling and reuse strategies for AI hardware to minimize e-waste. Then we have transparent reporting, where we regularly disclose AI-related resource usage in energy, water, emissions to stakeholders for accountability. There is also importance for having ethical policy frameworks where internal guidelines are developed which emphasize sustainability, equity, and transparency in AI deployment and decision making, and performing audits. emphasizing sustainability, and implementing and performing audits. Okay, so regular audits are required. So this is another way to reshuffle the economic wheels. Okay, this seems like it's something I can fix like this. Alrighty, so now we to look at AI prompt engineering and a bit of glimpse at AI agents. I will go quickly, very quickly. So the way to do advanced prompt engineering is first you define your objective very clearly, then you give context and constraints, then you use structured instructions, you specify the desired tone and style, and then you iterate and refine. So if you're very new to this process, these are the 5 steps. If you have done it sometimes and you have your own method, I would suggest creating custom GPTs inside ChatGPT and use it for that purpose. And if you have capabilities to build AI workflows, AI agents, well, you can wait for the next few videos from AI Buddy's YouTube channel, because we will look at how we are building AI agents and how anybody can build AI agents to do some some small problem solving on their own. Now, we want to talk about how do you want to improve the first generation. So the first thing that you have created, how do you want to improve that? How can you improve it? So you can ask the AI, you can give this prompt, roast this and provide a new suggestion, or you can ask for 3 variations, or you can just say simplify. The prompts to help decision making. So here you can ask about risk and mitigation strategy, and I'm not gonna explain them. They're pretty simple. Just play with them. You can take a screenshot from this page and just give it to ChatGPT and ask to type it down or answer. You'll see some really good stuff. So you can ask for different variations like pessimistic, optimistic, or natural outcome of a step. You can talk about pros and cons. We can talk about what would be the butterfly effect of this plan, and then have your plan over there. You can ask, how does this decision, and then you explain the decision and ask ChatGPT that how does it impact the shareholders. And you can even ask for different variations of these prompts for different use cases that you need, and you'll get some good ideas. So the prompts that you can give at the end of your discussion with AI, you can ask for summary, action items, risk and mitigation, implementation ideas, change management activities, or you can ask to write an email based on this. You can ask it to give a report, or you can ask it to talk about the stakeholder impact of what you have discussed. Next, we talk about AI agents. I will go very fast here, unfortunately, but this is the most complicated part. However, the good news is at some other point we will have a new video, hopefully next week. But if we get a lot of views on this one, I will take additional steps to make it faster, but we will talk in much more details about AI agents. So if we take a quick recap, what is AI? It is basically a computer system designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. The goal is to simulate or augment human cognitive functions, and competitive advantage is that AI has 100% perfect memory, so it's better than humans. Again, here's a mistake, there's a lie over there. AI hallucinates. Be very careful every time you're thinking of AI. You should remember it can hallucinate, so don't rely on it too much. Now, what makes an AI agent? So when you ask ChatGPT to write an email, that's all it does, it writes it. But an AI can first take your task, then it can perceive the environment. Basically, it can read, it can on an article that you give it, or it can search a website link that you've asked it to search, or it can like take a YouTube video and then use the transcription of the video and then give you a summary. Lots of different things. Other things can also be done with YouTube videos, but it can also help you plan and decide, take action, observe and evaluate. And the best features would be if this agent keeps updating its memory. That way it starts to understand you a lot more, and that's where the privacy and compliance concerns come from. But we are going to talk a little bit more about how an AI agent may work. So this is one method. It's a well-established method where a user gives a goal, the AI is building and perceiving and building context, then it is reasoning and planning. So if it has low confidence, it's going to ask the human in the loop, and then it will do that again. In some AI solutions, this step is skipped. They just directly go and invoke the tools that are required. So maybe they want to search a website, so it will use the search tool. Maybe it needs to write an email, so it will use the writing tool. So then once it creates, it observes and evaluates. So if the user is not asking for an edit, it is taking that as an accepted write-up. If the user says no, then it's updating its memory and asking it again. And finally, it completes the task, or it gives the result. So this can be broken down further. It can be innovated. This is not a hard and fast single process. So it is quite dynamic, and you can definitely build your own. But this should give you a good idea of the steps. Then there are like deep diving into what AI agents can do. They can help you with reasoning. They can help you with planning, with making decisions, with identifying cognitive biases, or planning your strategies. And by the way, the diagram of the shape, the pyramid, they are meaningless. This is just to make it look cute. So it doesn't mean anything that one item is mentioned at the bottom and the other one is the top. It's just a random organizing. Same goes for this one. It's not like they are in sequence, but the AI, when we look deeper into an AI that's a smooth operator, like that song by Said. So how can an AI be like that song? It's not. It was a bad example, okay. But what we see here is that there are tools that this AI can select. It can have different execution modes. So it can select if it wants to use this model or that model. It can address integration channels or challenges it faces and fix them on its own. For example, tools like Cursor AI, they can fix their own problems. If you just ask it to continue to solve this, solve that, solve this, you just need to tell it in natural language which one you want to use. And then there are performance metrics that an AI can present to you or learn from that, and AI can do different types of actions as well. AI agents. We are talking about agents. So agents can also use these different items for decision making to help you with making decisions, and the AI can itself use this decision making framework to be a better AI aid for you. There are some real world examples. We know about Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant. Many gaming NPCs now have characters that are enabled with AI, so they react intelligently. And there are recommendation systems we see every time we are on Netflix or Spotify. There are other systems as well. So why are they such a big deal? Because of these 5 things. And we kind of touched about the other stuff, but the societal impact is like, it is going to have a massive impact on how we live, just like internet and smartphones and even mobile phones, or even laptop computers, or Windows 98, just like, how they ended up bringing massive changes. But at the beginning, it was all fuzzy and cloudy, and it was just a tiny little thing on a computer screen. But look where we are now. So that's basically a good segue to look at the ethical considerations. We have a lot of things to learn from, which has happened from those days. 30 years have passed, like from 1989. How many years? 36 years have passed, right? So we have a lot of lessons to learn from, and a lot of good lessons to continue. And this slide is all about that. We will discuss separately about all the ethical issues that AI possesses. But for now, if you're looking into AI Gold Rush items, you should. It would be a smarter move to stay on the side of the people who are going to solve these ethical problems, instead of being on the side of people who are going to create more ethical and environmentally damaging problems, because eventually these ideas will be fished out of the system, because the world wants to progress sustainably. I think that's still the running memo on like, if nobody wants to live in a world that doesn't have oxygen and you have to pay money to buy oxygen cylinders, right? Like, that would be a defeat of humanity. So we don't want that. And I think with our capacity to guide the AI, use the biases positively, we have a great opportunity. So the future is agentic, and your role here is to learn, critically think, innovate, and be an informed citizen. Hi everyone, meet Agent Gigi, an AI-powered co-pilot specifically designed for busy solopreneurs. If you're running your own business, you know it's exciting, rewarding, and sometimes overwhelming. Agent Gigi is built to solve 3 core challenges solopreneurs face daily. First up, frequent task reprioritization. Every solopreneur juggles multiple hats: products, marketing, sales, admin tasks, and priorities shift constantly. Agent Gigi automatically organizes your daily tasks based on urgency, deadlines, and your core goals, saving precious mental energy, and it sends you an executive report every morning at 7 a.m. with brief reasonings and identification of blockers and risks for the top 3 prioritized tasks. Problem 2. Project management fatigue. Ever feel you're spending more time managing your task management tools than actually completing tasks? With Agent Gigi, you can give simple commands which integrates seamlessly into your ClickUp, your email, and your calendar, managing your workflows and reducing time, augmenting your experience. And finally, decision-making support. Solopreneurs often have to make critical decisions alone. Biases can creep in, clouding judgment and impacting the actions or the consequences negatively. Agent Gigi scans your decisions for common cognitive biases, offering instant, objective insights so you can make clear-headed choices aligned with your goals. This is just the beginning. More powerful features are coming soon. If you're a solopreneur ready to boost your productivity and clarity of work with AI, let's chat, reach out, and see what Agent Gigi can do for you. API and MCP. So these are 2 important elements in this journey. An API is a way for apps to talk between each other. And you can imagine of Hedwig from Harry Potter. By the way, I'm skipping, but it's almost because it's almost 2 hours and I want to get to the final slide. Maybe I'll take some 10-15 extra minutes. But rest assured, there are more detailed videos coming on the areas where I'm now going to be skipping. So no worries. So APIs are everywhere. So basically, most of the apps or websites, like you can create an API of them and then just have your app's API talk with that app's API. And this is how a lot of the AI enhancements could be integrated with regular discussions, like with regular APIs. That's a whole rabbit hole, so we're avoiding it. MCP is another rabbit hole. MCP, you can imagine it like it creates context between AI systems to talk between each other. So if I give you the comparison, like MCP server manages the context and API is let software programs talk between each other. So API is like a waiter delivering orders between you and a restaurant kitchen. MCP is like clearly specifying extra cheese, no onions. So the kitchen makes exactly what you want. And in the case of MCP, the kitchen is another AI, and you are also connecting your AI. So it's like 2 AIs talking with each other. I wanted to quickly talk also about the other AI agents, which we don't directly see, but people who are on the MS Teams ecosystem or Google Workspace ecosystem, they experience that. There are AI agents over there as well, and they are like building at a really fast pace. But I mostly work with ChatGPT and my own internal AI agents or some specific tool sets. I'll show it to you some other day. But because of that, there are now different evolution happening based on which ecosystem your company is using. You are kind of you're being exposed to a specific view. So it's better if you could check out multiple options. I think this is the time of the transition in digital world where a lot of SaaS subscriptions are going to be re-evaluated and reassessed. And many functions actually that even companies like AI Buddy Learning Lab will be creating will eventually be taken over by better companies with more power like Microsoft and Google. Because by power, I mean like they are powering many companies. They have been doing that so trustfully that their customers don't really need to rethink switching the supplier, you know what I mean? So because they have that and they have really talented team members, they can build very good solutions. Then they can learn from the smaller players like ourselves. And I don't mean learn like mentor student learn, but just like colleagues or whatever they prefer. But there's also acquisition and all the other sorts of possibilities of collaboration. But you will eventually kind of see a future where I shouldn't be saying it like this. We are there is a high probability of eventually in the next 10-15 years of these giants buying out these fundamentally strong, first principles based, human-centered design thinking, UI UX expert, AI solution providers who are also ethically responsible to be part of their ecosystem. So then it's a big, massive economic boom, and it's also sustainably growthful. So people are naturally expected to be happier all over the planet, and that calls for a great celebration at that point, of course. And that's, I think, something that really makes me hopeful about this whole journey. Because sometimes it's very, very hard, very alienating, even though now I have a team, but it is still very hard to maneuver in this industry. So you need to have your passion and enthusiasm definitely continuing in this journey. Now, this is the future. Even with AI agents being the future, this is their future where different AI agents are talking with each other. And we'll talk more about this later. There was a mistake. Was it? No, it was. That's fine. We didn't talk about that. So we want to understand the winners and the next steps. There are more time that needs to be spent by every AI solution provider to understand the bubble, how they can avoid it, because there are .com bubble events that clearly state which are the wrong principles or the wrong official attitude, professional attitude to have during these kind of industrial booms. And how to thrive beyond the bubble, learn about the risks, learn about the opportunities beyond the hype, go for strategy recommendations, make some, learn from others. It's more about collaboration. And remember that the pricing of LLMs, they're not going to be that cheap. You know already, right, that OpenAI is currently burning cash. They're using their runway fund intelligently, of course, but they are doing that. But when they have gained sustainable group of customers, they will increase the price. And people like me who have benefited so tremendously from these geniuses, we don't mind paying the extra buck if it helps me make $2 and I have to pay 25 cents. Why not? Sounds like a winning agreement to me, eh? And as long as you don't lead to a world where we cannot breathe oxygen and we have to pay for it, $5 per 5 minutes of existence, like seriously, not exciting. Anyways, so let's talk about learnings from organizing an AI hackathon. Basically, it was all about AI hallucination, not being able to do a good job. That's my perspective. That's what I picked up from there. So the other thing is that prototyping and business needs, and there are multiple areas of the technological solution provider business system. In that situation, one party cannot solve everything. There needs to be a strong team with very few biases and a very systematic approach of running things. So the big winners, let's take a look at them. We can say these are the landowners. Even during the regular gold rush, they had the best opportunities because they could tax people who lived there, they could collect rent, they could take money from the amount of gold discovered and deposited, they could even own the banks. They're like perpetually rich because of this particular gold rush. So in this AI gold rush is the cloud service providers, the data centers. We cannot live once human society becomes dependent on this technology, we cannot go back. So semiconductors and GPU manufacturers, that's why NVIDIA became such, like they're at the top, right? And then cybersecurity and compliance, guys, be very, very careful. A lot of privacy and cybersecurity policy changes are coming, so make sure you're building on compliance frameworks and you know what you're doing when you're dealing with massive amount of data. And I'd say any company that goes over 10,000 user data points could be checked just for once to kind of see they're doing everything right, because in countries like Canada, people are prone to scamming and losing a lot of valuable assets. So we want to avoid that. So cybersecurity, critically important. AI infrastructure companies like Kubernetes, Docker, VMware, essential tools, very important. So we discussed who are going to be the permanent winners, so you can stick with them. These were some best team cultures that we could use, but I'm almost out of time. So I really want to talk about some things from here. The best culture, we have mentioned it multiple times, but being data-driven and collaboration driven would be key, according to my understanding from all this discussion and what I discovered during the research while I was doing on this AI Gold Rush. And also, I've always been passionate about being a very helpful team member. So I took a lot of ownership in projects, which led me to do many things. And that's how I know that every particular role that someone plays in a company can be done with better output, if I may put it, with better business value, if you learn to use AI intelligently and responsibly. You will also not only be boosting revenue, you'll also be saving yourself from future expenses. But of course, it's a system. It's not easy as I'm making it sound. It's what I do. I put in additional enthusiasm. But it is what it is. So with business strategies, we discussed everything. I don't think this slide has anything additional. For marketing, I would say educational AI efforts and attempts, that is a big area which needs more exploration. It basically has become a decision point in which year countries like Canada is going to adapt, whether they want to adapt at first AI tools in their education or not. That's a decision for the education ministry, Ministry of Education. And then the next task for them would be to think about a date in how many years they want people in Canada to know more about AI tools and be ready to be employees of the future who can make more money and have better tools to guide them, help them, and also improve the quality of their lives and the environment. So your marketing, that's a whole other chapter, not for today. So thank you very much, guys. The whole video for now is done. Thank you for watching it. If you've seen the whole thing, you're a G. So just let us know what you thought about the whole video, what you learned. You can put content recommendations. If you have criticisms, feel free to share. I know there were some areas where I maybe dragged things. This is the first time I'm making a video like this, so I was trying a lot of new stuff and some old stuff. I don't know which one's gonna hit a chord, but if I expect to learn from you guys, so feel free to let me know. And I look forward to making new videos for you guys. And do you need a recap? So it's 2 hours and 8 minutes in. I would like to basically finish so that the priming we have done so far ends up, and this follows the adult learning cycle. So at the end we give a takeaway list. So the list of takeaways, I'm sorry if I'm messing up in some parts. The list of takeaways are: 1, the key success factors for AI in the gold rush era. Just success factors, let's just call it that. Building proprietary data streams with real-time feedback loops, secure and enrich unique data sets to create lasting competitive advantage, high-impact problem solving, where we focus AI development of solutions offering 10 times improvements or drastic cost or risk reductions, prioritize transformative value, not just technological novelty, embrace rapid prototyping, continuous integration, and iterative experimentation, outlearn and out-execute competitors through faster feedback and adaptation cycles. Design principles and cognitive architectures for AI agents need user-centric design. Okay, so I don't know these parts. Sorry about the lack of organization at this part. It's just a blooper. So design principles and cognitive, basically designing better products. That's all. With design thinking. Let me make it short. So you can hammer it on. Designing better products with design thinking, sticking to the core UI UX fundamentals, prompt engineering and improving your prompt engineering and decision making utilizations of AI. Sustainable and ethical AI practices need to be considered. Ethical deployment must be ensured for long-term sustainability of AI technology and having a smoother integration into the society. Real winners and infrastructure providers, to recognize critical infrastructure providers as foundational partners, and I would suggest collaborating with them to gain the national level and international level goals, because they are the ones who are the definite winners. So that was all for this video. Thank you very much for watching the entire thing, if you have done so, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. There are more contents coming, but they are on a pipeline, and the more response we receive, we will accelerate that. That happens to be the formula for now. So if you want more stuff to help you in your journey, let us know, and we'll be more active on this regard. Thank you everyone. You have a great one, and I wish you all the best in this AI gold rush. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.